Hey everyone, welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 331, recorded on February 10th, 2026. On this episode, we're going to be talking all about the most recent Nintendo Directs. Yep, that was two Nintendo Directs that we got recently, and also the Nintendo financial results. Got some updates on how much money Nintendo is making from all their services and games and consoles. But how about some introductions? My name's Steve. I'm, of course, here with Barry as well. Hey, Barry, how's it going?
Hey everybody, good to be here. It's just a lot to discuss, lots to talk about, and it's been a very busy and fun 2 weeks.
Yes, has. Unfortunately, we don't have Greg with us tonight. He had some family matters to take care of, but he'll be joining us in the future, of course. And you can always talk with Greg in our Discord. So if you have not joined our Discord, please jump over there and also follow us on social media. All those links are going to be in the show notes. And we're streaming this live. We do this live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And we stream it both on YouTube and Twitch. So if you're joining us live, please let us know in the chat room. We'd love to hear from you guys throughout our entire episode. As we said before, you're the other member of our podcast crew, and we love interacting with you guys throughout the episode. So please let us know if you are watching live. Say hi and let us know what games you've been playing and all your feedback on the news that we talk about in this episode. So without further delay, Barry, let's talk about what games we've been playing. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, so unlike last week, or last episode, I should say, where I had 2 weeks dedicated pretty much to one game. I did do a little bit different stuff, a little more stuff. So on the Switch side, still playing Pokemon Unite and Asphalt Legends Unite, although a weird situation with Asphalt right now on the Switch specifically. Like it's like most online games, where it's got season and then the next season start, etc. You got the passes and all that. But for whatever reason, the newest season, Switch didn't get. Like it just didn't start on Switch. So there's like very little to do, and they still haven't updated it. So like all the other consoles, mobile, they're all getting points and everything, and we can't see anything on Switch. Like we can play, but we can't even do online multiplayer right now because it's tied to the season, and the season is just not showing. So still playing it, but doing bare minimum because they just haven't fixed it yet, and that's very weird. I've never seen something like that where one particular console is excluded. So hopefully they get the fix, and they better compensate us heavily. Also played some Arranger, which is a puzzle RPG. Very, very cool. And it was actually just announced today that the physical is coming out with Lost in Cult. It's one of our partner games, and I did the ESRB, so I had to play through the whole game. And I can tell you it's fantastic, and it's definitely one that you will want to pick up when it comes out. And then I also played some more Elsie, which is a Mega Man style roguelike game. We did review it way back when, but I've been told by other people that there's been a lot of updates since, and there have been a lot of updates since. So just want to play and mess around with it and just having a blast with it too. My main focus was, however, on the Switch too, where I played some Pokemon Legends EA, mainly just getting giveaway Pokemon. A lot of people do giveaways, and just like, okay, cool, get some free Pokemon. Kirby Air Riders had an event, so I went and did that event. Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon was the game that took over my last 2 weeks. Well, I beat it. I finally beat it. Had a really cool cliffhanger ending, and of course, I've got to wait now probably 2 years for the next game. Uh, there was one little minor part at the end that I wasn't a terrible fan of, and that was just because it's a Calvard game, but you also have two other playable parties, and in the end, those playable parties kind of just watch what's happening. They don't get to really partake in the finale. And I thought that was kind of weird because they were like major characters, and now they're not. But I don't know how Falcom does this. They're just miracles with storytelling. There's so much to this game. So, and of course, this is the last game right now. When we're finally caught up, US is caught up. So we'll see
Oh,
what happens. What happens next is still, I think the next arc is the final. So it's like this next game is the last Calvert game, and then the final arc. It's gonna be like end up with like 18 games by the end of it. That's insane and awesome. It's
wow.
like its own little MCU. Um, the other big game, well, one of the other big games I played was Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, which came out after the last podcast, and I played through and I beat it. And I will say it is awesome. It is beautiful. I've tried this game on the PlayStation. I tried this game on the 3DS, and both times I fell off. It was just I just couldn't get into it. There was a lot of I don't know where to go. There was a lot of this is taking forever. Like it's just long drawn out stuff. The reimagined makes it easier. I know some people complain that it does show some markers and does give you hints of where to go next. I welcomed that because this game is big
Mm,
and it tells a lot of small, really good stories, and it allows time travel,
mm,
which is really cool. So you get to see things in the past and see the present and make some decisions and see how it plays out. And, does it play out the way you think it is? Can you go back and change the decision in the past? How is it going to be in the future? Will you save a town from being destroyed or will you make the decision you think is good and then the town is destroyed? You don't know. So it's really, really, really fun. The overarching story is, of course, great. It's very much Dragon Quest, and I had a blast. So I'm glad to finally be able to say I beat that, and it runs great on Switch too.
cool.
The other game that I've been really, really playing a lot of is Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who
Mm,
Steals Time. I wanted to play it last year. I started booting it up to do the code that Steve shared in our Discord, and I played it in between uh, Trails and Dragon Quest. Took a break when Dragon Quest came out. Dragon Quest now I'm done back on Fantasy Life, and I'm at the end of the game, and I will say this game is incredible, just incredible. There's so much to do. There's a main storyline that again involves past and present that you could do, but then you also get this ginormous extra world that it's optional. You don't even have to go there
mm,
once, and then it's optional. And it's like a playground. It's like a Breath of the Wild style playground. There's towers to do the map. There's shrines to get new party members, little puzzles. Not as complex as Breath of the Wild
mm,
puzzles, but some simple puzzles. But what they do is they do something really cool in this world because whenever you introduce any type of area in a game, usually what happens is you have like starter areas and you have end game areas and you have areas in the middle. So what happens is you start in the starting areas and you go through the end game areas. And then if you want to mess around, usually you're messing around in the end game areas because you get the most experience and it's more bang for your buck. What they do is they break it kind of like Breath of the Wild, where you have different regions in this world. And the more you do in that particular region, you get points. And then once you have enough points, you could actually level up that region,
mm,
and that region can go up like 7 levels or something like that. And when a region goes up, the enemies get tougher. The plants, like the trees, go up in levels. So if you're working on woodworking, carpentry and all that, and mining, the mining nodes go up. So
mm.
you can still stay in one particular area and level to 100 in it without even adventuring on. So you could just have fun, and it makes the entire map viable even end game. And it's
Oh,
almost like a goal. Let me try and make the whole map viable. And you could get NPCs to help you, and of course, bring in party members, and you could play multiplayer and just run around.
wow.
It's really big. It's really cool. It's really expansive. And freaking music by Uematsu. I didn't even expect
Mm,
to see his name pop up. And just an incredible game. Like, I feel like a lot of people have slept on it, maybe because they thought it was cutesy.
mm.
But wow. And I believe it's still a Switch exclusive, or at least Switch and Steam. I don't think it's on other
Yeah, I'm not
platforms.
sure. I feel like they
Um,
they keep releasing updates for it too.
they just added an update this past week that added more
Huh.
content. There's a treasure dungeon area that I haven't even done. There's this dream world, which is almost like a roguelike, where you get like a map and you start off at level 1 and you have to work your way up to get different lives, which are jobs, and get people to help you. And then at the end, you beat the boss or whatever your objective is, and then you get a bunch of rewards, and then use the currency to buy exclusive rewards, and you could just keep replaying it ad nauseum because you're always getting random dungeons and stuff. That is a completely separate side of the game. You don't have to do it. It's not a roguelike game. It's just a roguelike mode
Hmm.
in a very expansive RPG. High praise, but very much appreciating this game, and I didn't get a chance to play it back last year, and I'm loving it now. And it's one of those that I could see even after finishing it, like in between games, let me pop in there and let me just do some stuff. Let me work on leveling up some areas.
Hmm.
Let me play multiplayer, whatever. It's just so good. So I highly, highly recommend it. The last game I played on the Switch 2 was really a demo. that we're going to talk about here in a bit, but it's the Pragmata Sketchbook, which is the demo for the game Pragmata from Capcom. Uh, I wasn't sure what to think of this game via the footage shown in the director, which again we're going to talk about. So this might be a repeat or redundant based on later, but the whole premise is you're fighting in third person, shooting at enemies, robots, but you also have to hack them in real time. And I wasn't sure how this was going to work. And the hacking mechanism is literally it's like drawing mazes. It's like from point A to B, but you got to go through specific nodes. And what's funny is I thought about our Virtual Boy discussion from last podcast, how we
Mm-hmm.
talked about the Virtual Boy having two D pads. This game utilizes the buttons as a second D pad.
Hmm.
The buttons are how you move in the maze, up,
Hmm.
down, left, and right. So while you're shooting and moving your character with the left analog stick, you're hacking with the buttons on the right, and it works. It just works. It feels
Hmm.
you get a little get used to, but it works, and you get different weapons, and there's platforming. You could hop around and like hover, and there's platforming elements. It wasn't particularly hard. I played on the easier difficulty. And when I beat it, it turns out it's like the demo is like a speedrunner thing. Like it was like you took 17 minutes to complete it. Do you want again? And you get different pictures based on what you did. There's like 8 different ending pictures you can get that she draws in her sketchbook. Uh, really interesting gameplay, how it works, and it actually has me thinking about the final game now. So
Hmm.
I will say, if you've seen the trailer, you're unsure about it. The demo is quick. Like I said, I beat it in 17 minutes. Give it a try, see how you do, and see what you think, because it is very unique. And this demo runs great on Switch too, by the way. Like it really does look good. So I do recommend that. Finally, PC still doing Final Fantasy 14, and on mobile, Mario Kart Tour, the LinkedIn games, New York Times games, and of course Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Cool. Cool. Does Asphalt Legends cross over? Like, do you have it's like crossover save data? So if you did play it on a
Yeah,
different one, it does. Okay.
I believe it does. They also said that they're working on a Switch 2 version of it,
Yeah. Okay.
but it's one of those things where, like, obviously, moving to Switch 2 wouldn't affect it. I don't play mobile or on the
Yeah.
PC, so I'm just kind of
Okay.
sitting by, and I'm like, all right,
Got
I'm
it.
just they better do some kind of discount, or I'm not
Yeah.
buying the pass this time because I'm already over a week behind. It's bad. It's I've never seen anything like it. It's just so bizarre.
That is interesting. Um, I guess I mean, speaking of updates, our friend in our Discord has been telling us all about the Boulder Dash update that has released for other platforms, but not Switch yet, or maybe it has for Switch. We haven't checked it yet, but that was delayed, releasing for Switch. But I guess that's different because it's not just an update like a patch thing. This is like a new season kind of thing.
This is a new season for an online, and everything tied to it is just gone. And there was a special event that to get some really cool cars. Can't participate. So whenever I get back in, it's going to be like, hey, do you want to do it? You're 2 weeks behind, and you haven't gained any of the currency in those 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And I'll be like, I no, unless you want to give them to me for free. I'll take them for free compensation, but they have
Yeah.
to do something because a lot of people are pissed.
Hmm. Let's see. I've been playing Pokemon Legends ZA, like just slowly getting way through that. I'm like not very far along, but just kind of playing here and there. Um, I think I'm I think I'm like W or something like that, so I'm not very far along at all. But I'm getting there eventually. And then I played some Rogue Prince of Persia, which Barry and I are going to do a future game chat on. And my short thoughts about that game is I was bored. Uh, there's more we'll talk about on the game chat when that happens, but kind of a boring game compared to other Prince of Persia experiences I've had. And then played some more Animal Crossing New Horizons with the new update and stuff like that. So I just basically get on there every couple days and just I don't know, just walk around, do my little things, and decorate some hotel rooms. And eventually, I'll get to the point where I have all of the hotel rooms done, and I'm able to finally get the the retro consoles and everything. The fact that it's hidden behind all of that is kind of a pain because it's a lot of hotel rooms that you have to decorate, and you can only do one at a time unless you do the whole time travel thing. And I know a lot of people do that, but I don't want to mess with that. I used to do it on DS, and it was just such a hassle. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to do it in real time. So every couple days, I don't play it every day, so it'll take me a while to get there, but eventually I'll have enough where I'll unlock the retro consoles. And then played some, yeah, on mobile, regular Pokemon TCGP, lastly in Clash Royale. So, and I'm wondering how in the world are you collecting all of those different collections in Pokemon?
Well, I
It's
mean, I've
ridiculous.
opened a lot of packs, and I've got a lot of friends
That you
that do a
have,
lot of
okay.
shares,
Okay.
and
Yeah. I
they a
really
lot of
only
trades.
have you and your wife that I get cards from shares because the other
What I
two
also
people
do,
don't play.
like, I'll look through my friends list and look through in the trades too, and I'll be like, "What do
Mm,
you have on the wish list?" And if they have, like, if I'm missing art cards, so if I see somebody with an art card on their wish list, and especially if I've got, let's say 3, 4, or 5 of them, then I'll
mhm,
be like, okay, just gonna send you a blind trade,
mm,
and you send back, and hopefully you send me back something I need, which usually they do.
yeah,
So I've been doing a lot of trades. I've got like 999,000 of the currency because the
oh yeah,
all the shine dust and stuff, like, it's no
yeah,
big deal. So it's like, okay, I'll do some trades. But
yeah.
yeah, trades and opening backs, I save up my hourglasses and stuff, and
That's
I
you do
open.
get twice
I
as many packs as I do because you paid for the
I
the
I
subscription
do
thing.
also
Yeah.
pay for the subscription. That and it's I also do one of those things where, like, if I open up a good pack, I'll usually keep opening until I hit a dud.
Mm.
And then I'm like, okay, now I've hit a dud. Like, my luck is gone. Wait. And then, if I open up a dud pack right off the bat, I'm like, no, I'll be back later today. No big deal. But I will, I've have dropped a little bit of money for a new set that comes out to open just a bunch of packs right away just to
Mm,
see what I get. Because I also do build decks, and I watch YouTube. I
mm.
watch a lot of YouTube like videos of people like putting together some cool decks. I'm like, oh, that's one
Uh,
I want to try. And just have fun with it. And I love that they added the new random CPU battles,
oh yeah.
because that is cool. Because when you do normally the single player, you know exactly what kind of deck you're going against. Oh, I'm going against a grass deck. I'm going to bring in a fire. I'm obviously going to have an advantage. But now
Hmm.
you could go into random battles. You don't know what the CPU is going to have of different difficulties, and you don't have to worry about even playing online. You can just have fun to your heart's content. And I love doing that and just seeing what
That's
I
cool.
get.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like anytime I play an actual person online, they like 9 times out of 10 they have something that I'm weak to. I'm like, how they this is not random. Like, you keep putting me with people I'm weak to every time. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
I'm just glad they got rid of the stupid events where you had to win 5 games in a row, because it would always be
Oh
that
yeah.
5th game and, like, somebody would come in with your weakness, and they'd
So
blow you
annoying.
away, and I'm like, "Well, that
Yeah.
sucks."
Yeah. That's
We're
why
not on even playing field.
I didn't even play like online for a long time because I was just like, it's just frustrating. Like, it's not worth
I
it.
do I do recommend watching some YouTubers just doing different decks,
Yeah.
because they take the time to find, "Hey, this is the best decks," and they'll play it, and you can see how it is,
Hmm.
and you can say, like, "I just watched 10 minutes of a video." You don't have to watch the whole thing, and then if you enjoyed that and said, "That looks like fun," build the deck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely I've treated it more as a card collecting game
Oh, yeah.
rather than battling. Like, I'll do some of the battles that I need to like unlock some things, but I haven't gone after like trying to make the best deck I can and that sort of thing yet because it really isn't that important to me. But it's like fun to like, oh, let's see if I can collect all the cards. That's more
Yeah.
fun of it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the beauty, is you have both aspects in the same game.
Hmm. Yep.
It's not just collecting the cards, but it can be just collecting the cards if you want to.
Hmm. I feel like I'm doing pretty good without spending any money on it. So
Yeah. As long as you're having fun, that's the important thing.
I just need to get some more friends that can share with me because I only
Well, a
have
lot of
four,
times,
and you and your wife are the only ones that share.
you know what? A lot of people don't do, like, how you like my showcase.
Yeah.
A lot of people, like, I like everyone's showcase, and like
Hmm.
no one, my wife, and like sometimes a few, even Hassan. I'll like Hassan's
Yeah.
showcase, and he doesn't even share with me. Like, well, come on, man.
We're calling you out in public, Hassan. like our showcase. I need to become friends with him on there.
Yeah, he's got everything too. Let me tell you, it's hard to give him anything. He's got even
Yeah,
more than I do.
yeah, that's usually the case. I'm like, I share a lot more cards with your wife than I do you because I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't give Barry anything. He's got it all already.
Well, you know what? The one thing is, it shows you that everyone has like you at least have one of the card. But when playing a lot of cards, you need two of. You need because you can play up to
Sure.
two in a deck. So it's like even just having one, it's like that's great, but
Hmm.
I kind of need a second one,
Okay.
and it doesn't show it as often.
Yeah,
It's hard to say like, oh, I have one. Please give me another one.
that makes sense. Yeah. Cool.
But
Yeah, I'm grateful that I finally figured out. Like I think it was like a month ago or one of these episodes that I told you I was like, I don't even know how to figure out which cards you have or what cards you don't. I'm glad I figured that out. So, because for a while I was so confused. Like, how do I even know what you need?
thankfully,
Well,
they make it pretty easy.
yeah. Well, the default answer is Barry doesn't need anything, but
I need a lot of stuff still, but
well, you
it's
need
not
the
a lot of the
duplicates now, which is good
easy
to
to
know.
get stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's probably there's stuff that is, all the art packs and or cards and stuff like
Art
that. Then,
cards and stuff.
yeah, cool. Well, let us know what you guys have been playing, either in the live chat or let us know in the YouTube comments after the fact, or over on our social media or on Discord. But let's now move into some headlines. We got 4 different headlines. We're going to make sure we hit before we go into our main discussion for this episode. So, Barry, kick us off with this first one.
Yeah, so NSO got another update, this time for the Game Boy. On February 4th, we got Yoshi, which is the action puzzle game, the original Yoshi, the one that most people probably bought thinking they were getting a platformer, and got a Tetris style game. And then Balloon Kid, which is the sequel to Balloon Fight. What's interesting is this game only came out in America. However, they did re-release it in color in Japan only. So we didn't get that version. We didn't get the color version with like an added map and all that stuff. We got the original in Game Boy. However, if you have a Japanese account and you do have the Japanese version of the Game Boy, you can actually play that one for the first time in America, even though it's all in Japanese. But do you really need English to play Balloon Kid? They also noted that between the NES, SNES, and Game Boy, the Nintendo Classics app now have over 150 games. I don't know if that counts all the special versions, but that's still an impressive number for $20 a year.
And as we talked about on our last episode, a lot about the Nintendo Classics Virtual Boy that's coming out. And so GamesBeat talked to a Nintendo Treehouse staff member recently and initially confirmed that Nintendo Classics Virtual Boy would be playable on the Labo VR headset. And all of us go, yeah, we thought so. We talked about it in our last episode. They wrote a whole article on it and everything. Well, apparently Nintendo saw that article and now they've gone back on it and they've kind of deconfirmed it in a way. They've said that the Nintendo Labo VR goggles are not officially supported for the Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics library. So I guess we'll see in just a few days if it actually is compatible or not. I still think it probably is. But the Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics library is still planned to release on Switch 1 and 2 on February 17th.
And then speaking of games getting released, how about a new game for the Wii? That's right, the Wii. Metal Canary is coming to the PC, Dreamcast, and the Wii. And what's interesting is a physical copy will be produced for the Wii that will play on actual hardware. Um, this kind of came out of nowhere, but I guess this is the fun of aftermarket. A lot of other systems will get aftermarket releases, and I guess the Wii is now falling into that category. So who knows if this is the first of many or the only, but nice to see some life brought into the Wii. Now, I don't know if this will work on a Wii U or not, but it probably would.
And finally, we got Nintendo Music soundtrack updates. So if you're using the Nintendo Music app, You will have noticed that on February 2nd, we got the soundtrack for Tomodachi Life. That's from the Nintendo 3DS game. That's now been added to Nintendo Music. And then on February 9th, we got the soundtrack for Paper Mario The Origami King. And I believe there's also been some playlists that were added on top of that are connected to Paper Mario as well. So if you are still using the Nintendo Music app, it seems to be getting better and better and better. So, what do you think about all these headlines, Barry?
Again, I'm happy for Nintendo Music users. I really have not. And that's not to say I'll never will, but it's not usually something I listen to. But I think it's great that they just keep adding stuff to it. Middle Canary, I kind of have to get, but I know aftermarket is a slippery slope. Like I got a lot of NES and Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Dreamcast aftermarket releases, and even some Super Nintendo and stuff. And I got to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm done because there's just so many. There's so many passionate developers out there making so many great aftermarket games, and it's just like this is too much. Like I can go down this huge rabbit hole. So it's very, very slippery. However, this since it's a full set and I have the full set, it's like, all right, I guess I'll go with this. But if it turns out here's our next 15 Wii games, I'll be like, nope, I'm done. Like I got the first, that was it. That
Yeah.
was it. But if this is a one-off, then yeah, I'll get it and just have it as a nice little thing. I think Labo VR will work with Virtual Boy. I really do. And I've been thinking about just the way they're releasing it where they want you to buy the peripheral. I have this feeling where 6 months from now, maybe Nintendo will do an update where you no longer need it and you can just use
Mm-hmm.
your TV. I think they want to sell the units right now. And that's why they're doing because obviously they don't need it. Obviously they could display one image. You see it in the trailer. You don't get the same effect, granted, but so what? Just to be able to play it. I think that once sales stop or slow down, I think they'll do an update. And I'll just be like, all right, here you go for everybody else. Because if nobody's buying it and then no new people, and especially if they notice the downloads, like, oh, no one's downloading it because they're not buying it, like it's failing again, or at least it's slowing down again. I think they'll change it up, and then I think you'll see more downloads because people are like, oh, I didn't have to spend an extra $100. Now let me download it out of curiosity.
Yeah.
People are curious. A lot of people didn't get to play the Virtual Boy, which is a
Mm-hmm.
shame because it's really, really unique. And none of the games on the Virtual Boy have ever been ported to anything else. With I think Panic Bomber might have had a Japanese like Super Famicom release, or maybe, but that's like the one exception. Everything else has been released only for the Virtual Boy and never ported, and that is insane to have an entire library of one
Mm-hmm.
system pretty much locked.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't need that, people will definitely be curious to download it for free and
Yeah.
try it out for free. 1000%. I don't know anyone will say I'm not curious. If I'm curious about it for free, they'll do it. Um, Especially if it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But $100 is tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. I
Mm-hmm.
got it. I look forward to messing around and definitely playing some unreleased games that I've been looking forward to for 20 years or 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 30 years. What am I saying? 30 years. So it's definitely one of those where for me it's worth it, and I hope a lot of other people get to enjoy it too. But
Yeah.
I can't see Labo VR not working. However,
Right.
that's the worst way to play it. Like,
Right. Yeah.
you need to be able to play comfortably with the
Yeah.
stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It'd be
and
crazy, like, for them to finally just like, oh, look, we've now released it in 2D. I'm like, that wasn't very hard. Just take off one of the screens. Yeah. So
uh,
from someone that's played a lot of Virtual Boy, are there that many games that would be, quote unquote, ruined if you don't have the 3D effect?
no, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I think games like Red Alarm might be a little tougher to play without 3D because it's wireframe.
Hmm.
And the idea is your ship is wireframe, so you see through it, and the walls are all wireframe. And even with the Virtual Boy, like there were times where I remember like crashing into the wall and being like, "Oh, that was a wall there." So I could definitely see without that depth. it being a little more difficult. It's not impossible, but just a little more difficult. Some of the effects like Mario Clash, like,
Hmm.
throwing in and out of the screen, you don't necessarily need the 3D. It's just neat effects. Same with tennis, with the ball, and even Wario Land going back and forth. You don't need it. It's a really cool effect. I equate it to like the 3DS.
Yeah.
How many games really did you need? Like Mario 3D Land, a lot of people say like you needed the 3D. No, there were some levels that it definitely helped. You
Yeah.
didn't need the 3D. You can absolutely
Mm.
turn it off. So I think having the option is smart. If the peripheral wasn't a thing, then I don't see them putting in the 3D at all. With the peripheral being a thing, I think they just want to sell units. And I think if nothing else by Christmas, they'll do some kind of like, hey, here you go,
Hmm.
some kind of update to make it more generally used. Because I don't see them putting that on a discount anytime soon because that's what the $30 cardboard is for, right?
Yep. Yep.
And again, that's the worst way I can imagine playing the Virtual Boy. So I ordered one of those too, just as a collector's sake, but I'm not opening it up and using it. I will open the other one
Yeah. Yeah.
and set it
I
up.
didn't order it. I got the
You would,
plastic one, but
yeah, like
yeah, I
the
didn't order
green
the
one.
cardboard one because I'm like, if that's like, I'm 99% sure that if that works, the Labo will work. And
Yeah,
if
and
I
you
want to
still
play it
wouldn't
that
pick up.
way, I'll throw my Switch and my Labo VR, and that's it.
Well, remember, you can't use your Switch 2 for that. You would have to play it on
Right.
Switch
It'd be
1.
the Switch one. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's I can't see people playing that for long. And what
No.
sucks is then it would do a disservice of the game. You're just
Yeah.
playing it for the novelty for 5 minutes and turn it off.
Hmm.
And that sucks because there's a lot of fun in these games.
Yeah.
So hopefully they keep coming out. Speaking of games coming out, Yoshi and Balloon Kid. Yoshi, I believe, is already on the NES, but it's good to see the Game Boy version. I was never a fan of Yoshi or Yoshi's Cookie, flat
Oh.
out. They never did anything for me.
Hmm.
I was a Kirby Star Stacker kid.
Hmm.
That was more my Nintendo puzzle jam, and Wario's Woods. I loved Wario's Woods
Hmm.
as well. But Balloon Kid is actually a game I never played. I have it, just got it later on. I just never played it. So maybe one of these days I'll just slip it in between the bigger releases. Problem is, there's just too many games coming out. There's too many.
Yeah.
I don't have as much time to
Yeah.
play. And it's funny that it's just wild how much is coming out these days. There was another game actually I did play. I forgot to mention really quickly. Rumble Fish 2, which is a fighting game.
Okay.
They got a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and I was like, oh, let me play it because I've heard good things about it. I couldn't get through the arcade. Like, I'm sorry, that was a stiff fighting game. Like, I'm used to Street Fighter, even Mortal Kombat. I felt this was a very stiff fighting game, and I'm like, I don't see
Huh.
the appeal. And maybe it's not for me. But yeah, I did play that too. So if you're any Rumblefish
Fish.
fans, I'm sorry if I insulted you, but even with the
Hmm.
Switch 2 editions, it just didn't do it for me.
Hmm. I've never even heard of Rumblefish.
The first game's also on the Switch.
Yeah.
Both games are.
All right. Well, yeah, I did play a lot of Yoshi, and actually on Game Boy. I played it more on Game Boy. I remember, so my sister and I both had Game Boys when we were growing up, and so we played a lot of, linked, Tetris and all that stuff with our family, and that was a blast. And then I remember, I think she actually got Yoshi, but I played it way more than she did. And I think in the beginning, yeah, I was expecting it to be some sort of, platforming Yoshi game, and like, what is this? But I was hooked. Like, I totally got addicted to it when I was grown up. So yeah, I don't know if I'll play it or not. I played a little bit of the NES one when that came out on NSO, but I don't know if I'll play this one. But it's cool to see that it's there, and I never played Balloon Kid, so yeah, maybe that'd be one that I'll eventually, pop on, and we'll see what happens. Virtual Boy stuff, we've talked about it already, but I still think that it will be playable on Labo. We'll see. We'll test it out and let you know. And then yeah, I don't plan on getting Metal Canary for Wii, but that's just fun and also weird that that's now entered into the retro homebrew, like they're making physical games for Wii now. Like, we're not that old. How is this happening? So that's just weird when I saw that. And then of course Nintendo Music app, so cool that they keep releasing more and more music for that. So
There is one more thing that just happened at
mm,
the start of this direct, this podcast talking about directs, is that Grasshopper had a direct.
oh,
Grasshopper, who of course Suda 51, um, the new No More Heroes and stuff like that. He did a 5-minute direct talking about Romeo is a Dead Man, which is his newest
mm,
game, and they asked him about Switch 2 because it wasn't announced for Switch 2. And he's quoted as saying, doing what we can to make it happen, and also teased one more Grasshopper title uh, in 2026 that he's almost 100% certain for. So, Suda 51 fans, hopefully we get the game on Switch too. A lot of his games are already on the Switch, so it wouldn't be too far fetched. So hopefully it makes it happen. But that literally just happened. So
cool. Breaking news. Nice. Well, let's jump into our main discussion, and we're going to focus on two different Nintendo Directs. We had the main partner showcase direct that happened on just a couple days ago on February 5th. And then we also had the one at the very end of January on January 29th, the Tomodachi Life Living the Dream Direct. So we'll talk about those a little bit separately, and then we'll jump into eventually the financial results from Nintendo's recent earnings call. So yeah, let's talk about this before we dive into any general or any specific details and walk through the whole direct chronologically. Barry, what do you think of this overall direct? I know the internet has had some mixed feelings.
yeah, I've seen a lot of negativity on the internet, and I kind of scratch my head and go, why? A lot of people complaining about the ports. And I look at it as Nintendo did exactly what they needed to do. They needed to show people that the Switch 2 is getting more third-party support. And it's not to say the Switch didn't get third-party support, because it did. It needed to show that it's getting the same games or the majority of the same games that the other consoles are doing. And I feel they did exactly that. Yes, a lot of people saying, oh, they showed a bunch of games I already played. You know what? I'm in that same boat. I played a bunch of these games. But you know what? Not everybody has. And the world doesn't revolve around you. So instead of being upset that, oh my God, you're wasting my time showing me a game I played, be happy for the people that didn't get a chance to play those games for the first time. And now they get a chance to experience them, because that is the beauty of gaming. They showed off a few new things, they showed off things we already knew about, and they showed off some games that never had a chance to come to the Switch and now are getting a new life on Switch 2. That is fantastic. If you went into this expecting Nintendo stuff, like outside of Endless Ocean, at one time we've never seen Nintendo stuff. And if you had a partner direct, that is, and if you're saying, what does Nintendo have? Well, they've got a bunch. They had Animal Crossing, they had Donkey Kong Country Returns HD update in January. This month they've got Mario Tennis Fever just in a few days, and Virtual Boy. Next month we've got Pokemon, and we've got what else was something else in March? Oh, Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition.
Mm,
April we've got the Mario movie. We've got So Tomodachi Life. Most likely May is going to be Yoshi. Like we already know, and Nintendo usually does 1 to 2 things a month. So we already know what their early 2026 stuff schedule is. Like we know it. So to expect them to say, well, what about holiday? They need something for the holiday. They have something for the holiday. They're not going to tell you in January or
yeah.
February. They're going to tell you probably in September, maybe summer, but they're not going to tell you this early. I don't know why people get these lofty, insanely high expectations and then get really angry when these insane expectations don't get met. You're only doing this to yourself. And if you go into a direct or any showcase that includes state of play, that includes summer game fest, whatever, and you say, I only care about what's for me. And if that's it, and if I don't see what I like, then it's a 0 out of 10 for me. You know what? Open your eyes a little bit. Look at it from an objective point of view. Don't look at it from a subjective. Look at it as, how is the industry? what's going on in the industry, because you aren't the only gamer on any said platform. Nobody is developing a game saying person A or X or whatever on the internet, this game is just for you and no one else. They're not doing that. They're going to make the game they want to make it, and if you like it or you don't, that's fine. They really don't care. So get off your high horse and just let people enjoy games. Look at things objectively. And you know what? If you watch, let's say you watch the partner showcase and you say, "Oh, nothing for me," or so some, "Oh my god, an anime game, whatever." Maybe try one. Maybe try something out of your comfort zone. And you know what might happen? You might discover an entire genre that you didn't know you enjoy because you let it not you've been absorbed in whatever you play. And I guarantee the majority of people complaining play very little in terms of genre variety,
Mhm.
and they don't step out of their comfort zone. And you know what? That's fine. You don't have to do that. Be prepared for clapback because that's just it. And
Yep.
if you disagree with me, feel free. I would love to have a debate with you. Like just be positive. I had one person say literally was talked about this online, and they're like, "Wow, it's so rare to see such a positive attitude online. Like keeping." I'm like, "Yeah." Like one of the games we'll talk about, Tales of Arise. Like I love that game. I love the
Mhm.
Tales of series. I played it. I'm gonna play it again. I played it. But like someone like Greg who loves RPGs, who doesn't have a PlayStation or an Xbox to play it, now gets a chance to play it. That's great. Let him experience it. Who's to gatekeep? Why would you gatekeep like that?
Mhm.
It's a third party game anyway. Let people enjoy the games.
Yeah. Yep. Let's jump into the details. And I think, as far as where I am, I think, yeah, I think a lot of what I saw didn't necessarily blow me away, like in the beginning, but at the same time, like you said, Barry, like not every game's for me, so that's okay. I love seeing all these games come to Switch 2 though. Like that was just, it was exciting to see all the support, and I think that was my biggest takeaway. And so as we jump into this, if you're watching the video version, we'll have the direct itself playing as we jump into this. So it of course won't have any audio, but you guys want to watch along with us as we talk about this. So let's start with the first set of three games they talked about. Switch 2 is getting a game called Orb Tales. Is it not Orb Tales? Why
That is
is it
orbitals.
Orbitals? Orbitals. I
Yeah,
think my autocorrect like changed it, but yeah, Orbitals is the game, and this game is dropping sometime in the summer for 2026. And then Switch 1 is getting a game called Paranorma Sight, the Mermaid's Curse, on February 19th, so just a few days away. And then Switch 1 is getting Captain
Asa.
Subasa. Man, I need to make my font bigger. Uh, Subasa 2, World Fighters, sometime in 2026. So this could be one of those holiday releases. People, we may have gotten one, we didn't even realize it. So a Switch 1 game with orbitals, Switch 2 with Paranorma Sight, or sorry, Switch 1 with Paranorma Sight, and Switch 1 with Captain Subasa 2. So what stood out for you from you, Barry, for those three?
I think Orbitals looks great. Looks like an 80s cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me very much of, It Takes Two and Split Fiction and all that. It looks like it could be a lot of fun playing with somebody else. And it doesn't look like there's any single player. So that looks like something where if my wife was like, I want to play that, absolutely. And as my son gets older, something to revisit and then you go back to, I definitely see that being a case. Paranormal Sight, I loved the first one, and I've already pre-ordered this new one. Like it is on my actual not backlog. Like I plan to play it when it comes out on release because I love the first one. It's a horror mystery visual novel. It's really cool that Square is making this a series. I did not expect another one, and this kind of came out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, cool, absolutely. I jumped up. I was very excited, and like I said, I've already pre-ordered it. And then Captain Tsubasa, I've heard some really good things. I have a coworker who loves soccer, like Inazuma 11 and Captain Tsubasa. So I'm sure they're excited, and I'm sure there's tons of other people are. I think it's something you would probably enjoy, Steve, since it's soccer based. I think you should give it a shot. I think the first one usually goes on sale for like $4 on the Switch. So for $4, I think you can give it a shot.
Yeah. I don't know if I want a soccer RPG. That's the problem. Like I just like playing soccer. I don't want to be making RPG decisions in the middle of my soccer game. So that's I'm gonna stick with probably FC 26 instead of uh Captain Tsubasa. But yeah, the whole thing. This is the first one that I thought, hey, this looks really good. It's not my thing. It's not my kind of game style, but it looks really good, for sure. But yeah, I don't
What
think I'm
game are
gonna
you
be
talking
playing
about?
Captain Tsubasa.
Tsubasa, okay.
Yeah, yeah, for the soccer game because like yeah, there's some others that I'm like I don't even know, I don't even like how it looks or whatever, but this one was like, oh, this looks cool, and then I saw all the different RPG elements in it. I'm like, no, I just want a regular traditional soccer game, but it's fun for people to enjoy it. Paranormal on my side, I didn't even know the original game existed, and so this was a new thing for me. And so I probably won't be getting into it, but it looked really interesting. The thing that threw me off was the guy that was introducing it, like that older gentleman that
Hmm.
was on the screen, and then it cuts over to the actual gameplay was like two different graphical styles, which I thought
Well,
was
that's
interesting.
that's because the first game used a different graphical style than the new one. And
Oh,
that
okay.
guy is in the first game. He's like the storyteller.
Got
So
it.
it's bringing back familiarity. It's the same character telling a different story.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's almost like an anthology series with a host. Like Tales of the
Okay.
Crypt. You have the Crypt Keeper, and then you
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
the each episode is could be very, very different. That's the same thing. He's like the Crypt
Uh,
Keeper telling the story and saying like, "Oh, here's another tale of this," and then
oh,
you go for
okay.
the game.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because it threw me off. I was like, wait a second, was that because it almost gave me the impression of I thought we were going to see some oh, what's his name? Shoot, Leighton. It almost kind of had a little bit of a Leighton feel to it. I was like, oh, we're gonna get more information about that, and then all of a sudden, I was like, what is this? This is not what I was expecting. So it threw me off. Um, but still interesting for sure. And yeah. So at this point, I was like, all right, eh, not my thing, but cool to see what they're showing off. We'll keep on going, and this next set of four games. We'll talk about four games in this one. We had Tokyo Scramble, and that actually drops tomorrow on February 11th. That's for Switch 2. Actually, all four of these games are Switch 2. And then we're getting Valheim that drops sometime in 2026. And then Hollow Knight Nintendo Switch 2 edition was available that day on February 5th, 2026. And then also eFootball Kickoff, which was used to be Pro Evolution Soccer. And I did not realize they had renamed the game, but they called that out in the direct itself. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's where Pro Evo ended up going. And that's releasing sometime this summer in 2026. So we got Tokyo Scramble, Valheim, Hollow Knight, and eFootball Kickoff. What do you think, Barry?
Tokyo Scramble looks interesting, and it's Switch 2 exclusive, which is really cool. Um, Definitely can see this being a blast with friends because like you can play it multiplayer where everyone's doing their own thing. But I'm not the biggest into horror,
Mm-hmm.
so it's one I will be passing on unless like we get review codes or something. Uh, Valheim was, at least for the first half of the trailer, was the one game throughout the whole thing that I was like, this looks early. Like this game looks rough. Like
Mm-hmm.
needs a little more time in the oven. And by the end of the trailer, I'm like, I can see how this is a blast. I can see this being a lot of fun, but it does look a little rough. Um, the Hollow Knight, I downloaded it. I downloaded the update. It was free, so I got the upgrade. I figure whenever I get around to giving Hollow Knight a second try, because I didn't really enjoy it the first time, I might as well play the Switch 2 version and get the better, performance. And then eFootball, like you, I was like, oh, that's where Pro Evolution Soccer went. But I'm not a big soccer fan, so I will be passing. But again, another game I thought of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I used to play Pro Evo like every once in a while. I kind of bounce back and forth between that and FIFA. So I think for now I'm gonna stick with FC. But it's cool to see it's coming out. I think it'll be interesting where they go with this as well. So I'm gonna stay back and remain skeptical for now. But if they continue pushing the series forward, it might be a game that I check out in the future. But this one didn't give me like enough to go, oh yeah, that looks great. I'm definitely gonna get that. Hollow Knight, I did not own Hollow Knight, still don't own it, so that it's cool that there's a Switch 2 edition. But I just never played it, never got into it. But I know that it's a beloved game, so that's cool that it got a Switch 2 edition. And I believe is that it's a free update as well.
Yeah, it's a
So
free
if
update.
you have it, so might as well go ahead and download the Switch 2 edition if you have the original. I am the same with you on Valheim. I was like, really? Here, this is a this game finished and it's on Switch 2. Are you sure you got that right? Is it almost looks like it's a Wii U game? But okay, sure. Um, and then Tokyo Scramble, I'm with you as well. Like it looks really good. Probably not a game that I'll play because I'm also not really into to horror games a lot. Occasionally I'll play one, so but it does look fun if you have the multiplayer. So it may be one of those things that if we all get it, that could be fun to play together. But it's probably not going to be something that I'll play on my own necessarily. But yeah, um, yeah. I keep every time I see Hollow Knight though, I think about like should I get this game? Should I get this game? I don't know. Like I never got into it, but it may be one of those ones that I jump into late in the game, and maybe the Switch 2 edition will be the thing that actually pushes me to get it. So I haven't yet,
If
but
you're gonna play it, you might
might
as well do the
happen.
Switch 2 edition.
Absolutely, yeah. So the next set of games we'll talk about, we're finally getting the Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. We had the demo that popped up last year, and I played it, and they got enough feedback, I guess, because they're releasing the full game for Switch 2 on June 18th of this year. And then we get a Super Bomberman collection, and this is one of the ones that we have a Switch 1 version of the original one. Then there's also going to be a Switch 2 edition, and the digital is available now. The physical will be available. Sorry, I messed up my notes here.
The digital's
So
now.
the digital is available now. The physical would be available on February 5th, I believe. And then
Available
there's
for
also
pre-order.
I have a physical. Oh, well, that's pre-order. The physical is going to be available in August 2026 for Switch One only, I believe. So the
The
Switch Two
Switch 2
is only
pre-order.
digital.
No, Switch 2 has a physical as well.
Oh, okay. So the way they noted that in the direct did not seem like that. When I made my notes, I was like, it looks like there's only a digital version of Switch 2. So that's good to hear that there is a physical version of it. Okay.
There is.
And
It's
then
exclusive to Video Games Plus,
oh,
but it is physical.
okay. And then Switch 2 is getting Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on June 3rd, 2026. And then also Switch 2 is getting Pragmata on April 24th, 2026. And there is now a demo available for free on the eShop. So, Barry, what do you think about this section of games?
So Adventures of Elliot, we've talked about prior. Absolutely one of those that I look forward to. It's on my list. It is definitely one I want to play. I'm excited about it, and I'm happy that they've got enough feedback to release the full thing because I did love the demo. Super Bomberman, I love Bomberman games, and I remember playing Super Bomberman 2 on the Super Nintendo, and back in the day when we didn't have a lot of access to games or even the internet in the early days of the internet, emulation and ROMs became a thing. And I used to play a lot of emulation, especially in college. And I remember getting the ROMs for Super Bomberman 3, 4, and 5. And I was like, what the heck is this? And it was all in Japanese. I'm like, are these legit? Because we had like Mega Man and base labeled as Mega Man 9, and like what's this on ROM hacks and mistranslate. There was a lot of weirdness in at that era. So I thought like, oh, these can't be real. Like what's going on here? And it turns out they are. And this is the first time two of them are in English because three got a European release. We didn't get it in America. Four and five never had any type of Western release. So we finally get them in English. And I love that they're putting it together with Bomberman 1 and 2. I think it's a great collection. I plan to get it. I don't have it yet. I have the physical pre-ordered, but it's one of those that I could see getting digitally just to have access to, especially as my son gets older, because the multiplayer and Super Bomberman R2 left a sour taste in my mouth. Like Super Bomberman R was fun, but R2 just didn't do it for me. So I'm kind of excited to see this, and I hope it continues. I hope we get more and more and more collections. Bring everything out. Let's do it. Give access to all the games. Um, Final Fantasy, here we go. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, a game I played. I
Mm-hmm.
played, beat on PlayStation 5. I'm not gonna play it again, but I'm happy that some people who didn't get a chance to now get an opportunity. It would be really terrible if they didn't do that because they just released remake, and remake is
Mm-hmm.
only one third of the game. So it'd be really bad if they release just one port and not the others, kind of like, Mass Effect 3 on the Wii U, but never Mass Effect 1 and 2. Who would do monstrous stuff like that? I don't know, EA. So it makes sense that it's coming. I'm glad it's coming so quickly for people. Again, I played it. I'm not going to play it again.
Yeah.
If you play it, I hope you enjoy it. And
Mm-hmm.
Pragmatic, you know what? I wasn't sure about playing Pragmatica, but now I am. Now I'm like, you know what? If there's nothing else in that window, this could fill the slot because the demo did enough to at least sell me on the idea. Now, how the rest of the game is, I don't know, but the demo is fun. And again, if it looks intriguing to you, download the demo. Try the demo. You have nothing to lose other than about 17 minutes of your time if you play through the whole demo.
Yeah. Oki Reps in the chat says that sucks that Elliot game is a key card. Yeah, that does. I mean, it sucks that any game is a key card at this point, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Also, hi Jakesters joining us in the chat as well. As far as Elliot, yeah, like I really enjoyed the demo. I think that game looks really good. So that's interesting to me. We'll see what kind of time I have for an RPG or not, but looks really good. Super Bomberman Collection is fantastic. I love I love playing Bomberman, but I don't know if I'll be getting this collection or not, but it's great to see it. Final Fantasy, it looks really good on Switch too. Like I am surprised that like we're actually getting some really solid looking games on Switch too, and that's great. And then Pragmata, I actually did not like it the more I saw it. The Diana character freaks me out, number one. She looks like creepy. And then like I don't know if I like how like you have to do all these little puzzles as you're like interacting as you're shooting and stuff like that. You have to like do that stuff in order to trigger other things. It's like a bunch of mini games within the game. I'm like, I don't think I would enjoy that kind
Try
of
the
mechanic.
demo. Just try the demo.
I do. I
That I
didn't.
give
It's free,
It's
but yeah,
free, it cost you a little bit of time. Not
yeah,
much. Like I said, I beat the demo in 17 minutes.
sure,
People can beat it. Speedrunners can beat it in like 10. So like,
got it. So yeah, I'll check out the demo. It's free, but based on what we saw in the direct, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath with this one. Yeah. Let's see. Jakester's asking what was wrong with R2.
Bomberman R2. I just
Oh,
did not
Bomberman
like
R2.
R2. Like the tower defense, like it changes the whole gameplay. Bomberman should not be a tower defense game.
Mm,
And it forces you to like waves of enemies or attack. I'm like, no, this is not what I want. Like it just
yeah.
maybe if I go back in a different state of mind, but I was really in the mindset for a brand new Bomberman game, and I got it at launch, and that was the one game that I pulled out of the Switch so quickly after putting it in. I think it was the fastest ever. I just
Hmm.
I just couldn't get into it. I was not
Yeah.
happy.
Well, next two games we got were Switch 2 game, Turok Origins, which reminds me a whole lot of Monster Hunter, the way that this game is going. But it's releasing fall 2026. And then Switch 1 and 2 is getting Kyoto Xanadu. in summer 2026, and I would imagine this is probably a follow up to Tokyo Xanadu, so which I never played, but heard great things about it. But Turok and Kyoto Xanadu, what do you think, Barry?
Turok looks interesting. Might give it a shot. I did enjoy the original Turok games. Haven't played them in years, but what's nice is this looks third person, so I might check it out. It depends. The later Turok games were not very good, so it's one of those maybe not at launch, but if unless the reviews are fantastic.
Hmm.
Kyoto Xanadu, however, is a day one. Absolutely. I love Tokyo Xanadu. I'll play anything Falcom at this point.
Hmm.
Like Falcom is, I stand by the statement, is the best developer that no one's playing. They are so good. And Tokyo Xanadu was an amazing mix of Trails meets Ease with a little bit like Persona thrown in. And I've been waiting for a sequel for so long and finally getting one. Like, yes, absolutely.
Cool, cool. Yeah, Turok 2 was my favorite, so I'm gonna remember that. But yeah, Turok
Cerebral
Origins looks
Bore.
so much like Monster Hunter. I was like, they are definitely going in that direction for sure. Let's see. Next set of three, or Switch 2 and 1 and 2 are getting Digimon Story Time Stranger on July 10th, 2026. And then Switch 2 is getting Grand Blue Fantasy Relink Endless Ragnarok on July 9th, 2026. And then also on Switch 2 is Monster Hunter Stories 3. Speaking of Monster Hunter, Twisted Reflection. And this is coming out on March 13th, 2026. And there is now a demo available, and the save data does cross over. So Digimon Story, Time Stranger, Grand Blue Fantasy, Relink Endless Ragnarok, and Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection. What do you think?
Yeah, so Digimon looks great. I know I'm a big fan. Jakester talking about how he's excited for Digimon. I've heard it's a great game. Just right now there's only so much time and Digimon unfortunately doesn't get in there. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is a phenomenal game. It's again another one that is like, oh, I've already played that on PlayStation. I love Games. Again, Games does some great stuff. And it was phenomenal. I beat it, but there's like so much more. It was almost like an MMO where you had like you could do cooperative battles and stuff. This is adding new content. I wish it had crossplay where I could bring my save from PlayStation to Switch. Like make that be a thing.
Hmm.
Will I replay it on Switch 2? I don't know. If you could download just that stuff, I might do it on PlayStation just because I already have so much established. But it was one of those games where, I can see with a group of people just having a blast. It's so good. And Monster Hunter Stories 3, I've already downloaded the demo. I haven't played it yet because I'm going to play it as I get closer. Heard good things about the performance on Switch 2 and the demo. I love the first two Monster Hunter Stories games, and this is one that I plan to play on launch. Like it just looks great.
Nice. Yeah, Digimon's not my thing, but cool that that people like Jakester love Digimon. And then um Grand Blue Fantasy, I didn't know anything about, and so that's cool to hear that you really enjoyed it. It's one of the ones that I walked away going, that looks really really good.
It
Um,
is.
so maybe I'll check that out again, depending on how my summer goes. Um, and then Monster Hunter Stories is one of those games that I like. That series I've thought about getting into so many different times. Um, and so you've played all of them. Does it matter? Can you jump in the middle of the story, or
Yes.
I don't need
They're
to go back
not
to one?
they're not like you don't need to play one to enjoy two. In fact, I played
Okay,
two before I played one because
okay,
I had one on the 3DS, but I never booted it up. Played two because it came to Switch, and then when one came to Switch, I went back and played one. You don't need to enjoy it. This is
okay,
different. And
okay.
it provide I don't know, I haven't played the demo yet, so don't know if that's still the case, but with one and two, it's a very rock, paper, scissor mechanic. So you get moves, red, blue, and green moves. And if you use a red move and they use a blue move, you get an advantage. You crash through them and you do your damage. If you both have red moves, you both hit each other and both take a little bit of damage. And if you go and they have, like, if you go red and they have green, they will hit you and you'll take damage. So every turn you're both attacking each other. And depending on what it picks is the outcome. But
Hmm.
they give you first off, all monsters will say the same. Like, so if it's a raptor, like, oh, they usually use red, maybe they'll use a blue. So when you fight them enough, you know which monsters to use. And
Okay.
sometimes there's also tells where they'll tell you like, oh, we're using a red move now. Like there'll be like a little hint. So be like, oh, they're using a red, but because
Hmm.
you may not have a counter. You might not have a counter to the red, and then you have to eat it. But you have multiple people in your party and multiple monsters, and you also have to pick your target. So if you would like say it's a 2v2 and both enemies are attacking your partner, you can now attack anything you want, and there's no conflict. You just absolutely will take them down. Whereas the other person now has to shield both attacks. And if depending, so like let's say both are attacking with red and your partner's attacking with green, it's going to slash through both of them. So it's going to do double
Hmm.
damage. And then you can do combo. So like you're fighting with your monstie. So like which is what they call like your partner. So unlike
Which
Pokemon
is
where
really funny.
it is. So instead of like
Like,
Pokemon where you
couldn't
throw
they
out
pick a better name?
Charizard, they couldn't. It's Monsties. They're all Monsties. So instead of like Pokemon where you throw out your Charizard's fighting. In Monster Hunter, it's your Monstie is fighting next to you. And then you could also do combos where you can like hop on top of your monster and it heals you up a bit. And then you could do combo attacks where it's you and the monster itself.
Hmm.
And then you could hop off your monster and do it. So like there's a lot of strategy, but it's not like I need this big strategy book. It's very, very much user friendly, easy to pick up and play, and it's different than Pokemon. But it
Okay.
is a standard RPG, but it does have monster collecting. But
Hmm.
instead of like Pokemon where you catch it, what happens is you go to monster dens and you sneak through the monster den and you fight whatever you have to, and you eventually get to the end and there's a nest. Sometimes there's a monster on the nest and you have to like sneak stealing an egg from them, otherwise you just get the egg. Sometimes the monster comes in when you're trying to sneak the egg and you got to run out holding the egg, and then you take that egg, bring it to the town and hatch it. And then depending on what you hatch, you then get to use that monster
Hmm.
whatever you want. So like if there's a powerful monster you want, find its den, you can then get one for yourself. And then you could also say, well, this one kind of sucks but has a really cool move. You could then kind of lose that monster but take that move and give it to another
Hmm.
monster of your choice. So you
Okay.
can do a little micromanaging. It's very good, and I highly recommend trying the demo. I
Hmm.
really do. Like again, it's free and
Sure.
it's the best kind of demo because the save data carries over. So if you really enjoy it, well, now you're just ahead of the game for March.
Cool. Cool. I do like that a lot of the games that I was interested in are having demos. So that's cool. They need to do more of that.
Yes.
Um, then this also, yeah, Jakester says stories is great and also mentions that Grand Blue was a mobile game from Games, the makers of Dragalia. So
Yep.
that's cool. I didn't realize they were behind it. So that makes sense that it would be good. So our next section was an interesting one. Kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Maybe it caught you off guard too, Barry. They announced a new Arcade Archives 2 game called Rave Racer. However, what they didn't say is Arcade Archives 1 is also getting Rave Racer. So if you're on Switch 1 or Switch 2, you can play Rave Racer on an arcade archives. That's hard to say fast. On February 26th. And then we also got an announcement for a console archives that's dropping. And they first announced two different games. Doraemon, I think that's how you pronounce that, and Sonic Wings Special that were announced, but no release date. And then they gave us two games that dropped that day, which is Cool Borders and Ninja Gaiden 2: The Dark Sword of Chaos. Dropped that day on console archives for Switch 2, and they said more on the way. So I'm assuming more on the way includes Sonic Wings Special and Cool Borders.
There's actually a list. So it wasn't shown in the direct, but there's a list that they released. So I don't know if you have that. I have it on
I
hand.
don't.
But there's 10 games they talked about. So it's Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos from 8-bit, which is out now. Cool Borders, 32-bit, out now. And this is how they're classifying it: 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, instead of
Okay,
saying NES, PlayStation,
got it.
which is fine. Doraemon, which is 8-bit, coming on July 30th. Nobunaga's Ambition, which is 8-bit, coming soon. None of the rest of them have dates. Mag Max, which is 8-bit. Sonic Wing Special, which is 32-bit. Desimon Plus, which is 32-bit. Rhapsody, a musical adventure, which is 32-bit, and is already on the Switch in the NIS Collection 3, I think Volume 3.
Hmm.
But it's coming through this. Master of Monsters, Disciples of Gaia, which is 32-bit. Monster Rancher Hop About, 32-bit. And the last one I believe is only coming to Japan, which is UFO A Day in the Life, 30-bit. But who knows, that 32-bit, that could change. But that is the announced launch lineup, or at least launch window lineup for console
Hmm.
archives.
Interesting. So my big question is, and Barry, I know you know a lot more about this. Where are these games coming from? Are they multi-console games that were like on like Sega systems or something like that in the past? Like, because most of those I've not heard of, so I'm guessing they weren't. And if they were Nintendo games, they'd be probably released in some other way rather than the console archives. So do you know much about
So
these?
I mean, they're from all different platforms,
Okay.
but a lot of times, if publishers or developers will choose to make a compilation, if they want to, and when they say no, we're not going to, Hamster has been doing this for a while now. They're very, very good with their emulation. And Hamster probably reached out to all these companies and said, "Hey, are you planning on doing, like, for example, Monster Hunter Hop About, which is a spin-off, which Jake's just talking about. They did
Mm-hmm.
Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX, and they did the Kaiju Monster Rancher. And they probably said, Tecmo Koei probably said, like, or it was Tecmo, it was to ask Tecmo, probably said, like, we have no intention of ever bringing that over. And Hamp's like, could we do it? And they're like, okay, sure, do
Okay.
it. So that's how I mean, they've worked with Nintendo with the arcades. Nintendo's like, probably like, we have no plan to bring the arcade Punch Out to Switch.
Yeah.
And Hamster said, could we do it? You'll get royalties, whatever. And they let Hamster do it because now
Got
you
it.
can play it on your Switch. So I love that they're doing this because they're probably starting to run lower, or at least lower, on the arcade games that they can do, because
Mm.
there's so many. There's over 300 arcade archives on the Switch. It's incredible.
Really? I didn't realize there were
Oh
that
yeah.
many.
Oh yeah, go on the eShop and just search arcade archives. It's insane how many there are from all
Hmm.
different platforms and all different publishers. So they're now branching into consoles. And what's really cool is Cool Borders, for example, is a PlayStation game. Like, that was only released on PlayStation.
Hmm.
Nintendo gamers never got a chance to play it. We had 1080 at the time for N64. So
Yeah.
now you can play it on a Nintendo platform for the first
Hmm.
time. And what's even better is, I think it was Good Vibes Gaming took a look at, on the PlayStation. Natively, they've got like the PlayStation Classics. Cool Borders is there. Um, the emulation on that is worse than the Arcade Archives version. The Arcade Archive
Oh.
is a better version of it. Ironically, like, if you go to the control setup, the PlayStation control setup is there because it was a PlayStation game, except they removed the Sony from the controller, so it's blank in the middle.
Sure.
But yeah, like, it's so
Hmm.
cool that we're getting these games, and this is what needs to happen. Hamster is doing a phenomenal job because otherwise these games are lost. Oh,
Hmm.
you can play it on PlayStation or PlayStation 2, or maybe if you have a backwards compatible PS3. Now you can still do that. 10 years from now, it's going to be much harder to do that. 20 years
Hmm.
from now, you have to find the games, hope the game is in good shape, find a system, use a system, hook it up to a right TV, hope you have a TV that could hook it up without modding. Like, there's all these extra hurdles. And now you can just play it
That's
and have
cool.
easy access and on the go.
That's
So
cool.
I love that they're doing this, and it's great. It just keep going. I know some people complain the price is a little on the higher side because I think it's like 11.99. I
Hmm.
get that. My opinion is just wait for a sale if you really want it. Other people have complained about Virtual Console going away and like, oh, I don't want NSO. I want to own my games. I don't want a
Hmm.
service. This is your Virtual Console. Like, this is it. You could buy the piecemeal games, and now, especially console archives, you're getting that. So if,
Yeah.
like, you're a Monster Rancher fan and you have 1 and 2, now you can have Hop About. Like, that's so cool that they're doing that. And if you don't care, you don't have to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, Jakester mentioned that a lot of them are PS1 games, and that makes sense then because I had so few PS1 games that I'm very unfamiliar with that library. So that makes sense that I'd not heard of a lot of them. So, cool. Well, next we got a huge sizzle reel, and as we run through those, we got Scott Pilgrim EX coming to Switch 1 and 2 on March 3rd. We got another Eden Begins, Switch 2 edition coming, this regular version coming to Switch 1, and then Switch 2 edition coming to Switch 2 in summer 2026. Reanimal is coming to Switch 2 on February 13th. WWE 2K26 on Switch 2 on March 13th. Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown is coming to Switch 2 on February 18th. Disney Dreamlight Valley Switch 2 edition is coming to, guess what, Switch 2 on March 25th. PGA Tour 2K25 is coming to, or actually is now available on Switch 2 as of February 6th. And then Cold Sept Begins and Cold Sept Begins Switch 2 edition, both on July 16th, 2026. Goat Simulator 3 is coming to Switch 2 on April 1st. No joke. And then Switch Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun is coming to Switch 2 on March 18th. And then finally, Barry's favorite, Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn edition coming to Switch 2 on May 22nd. So what'd you think of this sizzle reel there, Barry? A lot of games that we'd heard of before, but still cool to see, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the sizzle reels are usually just that. They're games that people expect, or just don't need a whole full showcase. Scott Pilgrim EX looks really good. Might pick it up. I got the physical pre-order, but I might, I'm not sure when I'll play it. Another Eden Begins wasn't on my radar at all. That looks fantastic, and the pedigree behind it, I'm excited for it. Reanimal, WWE, nothing for me. Star Trek Voyager, I heard, is pretty good from the demo. I haven't played any Disney Dreamlight Valley, but I know friends have put 500 plus hours in that game, so I'm excited for those gamers to get a Switch 2 edition. PJ Tour, I'm not a big fan. However, my father-in-law called and said, I saw an ad for PJ Tour. I'm going to get it on my Switch 2. So again, this is my point. There's an audience for everything. Cold Sept Begins, to see that come back. That is insane. Cold Sept was a PS2 game originally, and then the sequel was on the 360, I believe, exclusive. It was like a card RPG, and I have them. I never got around to playing them. To see that come back is incredible, just because again, I thought it was a dead series. So I might mess around with it. It depends on what's going on in July. Goat Simulator 3 is weird because Goat Simulator 3 is already on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like now it's coming to Switch 2, but it's not an upgrade. It's like a standalone. Like, why? Like, it better be free for people who have the Switch one, because that really is so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do that. Shadow Tactics doesn't do anything for me, and Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn edition, I already played it, and I played the DLC. However, I know there's a lot of people who never got a chance to because they didn't have a PlayStation or Xbox, and it is up there for me. I really love Tales of Arise. I love the music. I love the characters. I love the world. What sucks is that's still the latest game, and they haven't made a new one since, and it's been a long time, and I've been
Yeah.
starved for a new Tales of. But I absolutely recommend it. So will I be playing it again? No, because I've already played it. But I do recommend it because it is fantastic. And if you haven't played it yet, you're in for a treat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jakester says he feels that the sizzle reels are my least favorite part. I don't know why he says that, but um, anyway, I think it's cool to see all these games, and yeah, most of them are games that we've seen already. Like you, I was caught off guard by another Eden Begins, and even thought that it wasn't in the direct at all. We had a whole conversation about like, oh man, I got this press release in the email and looks really cool from the Chrono Trigger team, and all this stuff, and we're like, man, I can't believe I didn't see it in the direct. And no, lo and behold, it's in the sizzle reel. That's we missed it because we blinked. Is probably what happened. But yeah, that's probably the standout, I think, from that. I know the Trails of games are great, but as we've said many times, it's definitely a a huge game that I just don't have time for. But they look fantastic, and I love hearing them playing them vicariously through you, Barry, and hearing about the experience you have, because I don't have the time for that. But it's cool that they exist, and I love that. Yeah, we keep getting them on Nintendo systems. And I'd say, yeah, probably the other one that caught me off guard was Goat Simulator as well. Like, really? Well, that came out of the blue. I didn't expect that one to drop, but okay.
which is weird because it's already on the Switch, so it's not like a
Yeah.
Switch 2 edition. Like, and again, I wish they would be transparent because there are some games out there, for example, Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Hmm.
If you buy the Switch Legendary Edition, like if you have the Switch version, and if you upgrade to the Legendary Edition, you could then download the Switch 2 edition for free. Like just for free. You get it. Um, Other games like Tomb Raider, the newest Tomb Raider, or at least the first of the trilogy that came to Switch and Switch 2. If you have one, you could download the other for free. So there are a list of games where if you get on one system, you get on the other, which is great. But then there's tons of other ones that are not like that. And if you get it on one system, like Dragon Quest for the Square is terrible at this. Dragon Quest 7, I bought the Switch 2 version because it's a game key card, so I just got the digital version, said screw it. I cannot download the Switch version for free. I would have to buy it again, which is dumb. Give it if you buy one, just make it. If you're gonna put two separate editions, because if it's an upgrade path, you get both versions with an upgrade path.
Hmm.
So just they should do that. They're being greedy at that point. And it's not just Square. NIS is the same thing. Beyond the Horizon is the same way. So many other Switch 2 versions or just games released on Switch 2. AI, the newest AI, No Sleep for Konami Date. I bought the Switch 2 version, but I did not get the Switch 1 version. I mean, I got it physical, but I didn't get the
Hmm.
Switch 1 version digitally for free. So I wish there was like a disclaimer, like you have to rebuy these, especially
Yeah.
for stuff like Goat Simulator 3. It's like, well, I already bought it on Switch. Now
Right.
you're telling me there's a better version, and I have to buy it again. There's no upgrade path.
Right.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Give me an
If it's a
upgrade
better
path at this
version.
point, especially if it's already on the Switch to begin with.
Totally. Totally. Which Jakes you're talking about? When I write the articles from the NintendoFuse website, the sizzle reels just listed just like all the other games. I don't get
Nope.
it, but like,
Yeah, Jakester also mentioned Sonic X Shadow Generations. It's another one, absolutely.
yeah,
Well,
yep.
like they're two separate releases.
Hmm. Well, let's keep on going. The next section of games are all about Resident Evil, which we already knew. Resident Evil Requiem is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 very, very soon on February 27th. And you can be able to switch between a first person mode or a third person on the fly. So, depending on what style of game you want to play, which is pretty cool because Resident Evil used to be third person, and it switched to first person, and now you can switch on the fly depending on your style. One thing I realized is that Leon is a horrible shot in this trailer. Oh my gosh! Like
It
he
it's
couldn't hit a
Nintendo
thing.
purposely trying to show like, look, no one's getting hurt. No one's getting hurt. Kids can watch this.
It was horrible. He wasn't
I know.
even close. And then also we're getting Switch 2 on the same day, February 27th. We're getting Resident Evil Biohazard and also Resident Evil Village, both the gold edition of those two games. And I think as previous released, I think we talked, or not released, but we talked about this on a previous episode. There's going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller that's themed for Resident Evil, also on February 27th. And there's going to be amiibo characters of both Grace and Leon dropping sometime this in summer of 2026, and these will provide in-game weapon skins within Resident Evil Requiem. And then also there's a Requiem creator's voice video from director Kashi Kana. I'm going to butcher this, and I apologize. Kakanishi coming soon to talk more about that game as well in the development. So, what do you think, Barry? Is this Resident Evil Requiem going to finally make you jump into it, or not going to?
I'm I'm happy that Requiem gets a third person mode because I I I really did enjoy the first Resident Evil, at least the GameCube version, even if it did scare the piss out of me. That first zombie when I got it down and it just grabbed my foot and I jumped and it was a stormy night in my college dorm and I turned that GameCube off so quickly. But I did beat it and I did have a lot of fun with it. But it was, it was kind of different. I was learning that I wasn't a big survival horror fan, and I did enjoy Zero and I did enjoy Two. And I didn't really do much with Three or Code Veronica. I watched some of it. Four, my friend kept telling me to play, and I kept trying to play the Wii version, and it just didn't do much for me. I enjoyed the light gun games though on that, and even
Hmm.
Revelations on the 3DS I did enjoy. Five, I even had fun with the demo, but I never really played the full game. But when seven was shown off as first person, I'm like, oh no. And eight, same thing. So nine, I expected the same thing. So to see third person again makes me happy. But again, it's the jump scares. Like they show the one scene of like the door busting down and someone climbing through it. And I still have PTSD for the dogs in the window. And if you've never played Resident Evil before, the first game, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. Maybe you have this fabrication in your head of, I can imagine it. But if you've played the original Resident Evil, everybody collectively has that memory of when they first experienced the dog coming through the window and the collective amount of poop that scene created from the 90s into the 2000s. Yeah, I do not do well with jump scares,
Yeah.
and that's what Resident Evil does a lot of. However, I do really enjoy the stories behind the games. Like, if nothing else, I will probably watch a YouTube video
Mm.
talking about the story and what happens, just because I do enjoy the story. I
Sure.
just don't enjoy the survival horror
Yeah.
part or the limited ammo part. And
Yeah.
that's why, like, in the original games, it was always like the speedrunner rewards. And I
Hmm.
remember my friend and I and his brother, we sat down, we beat the original Resident Evil, the remake, the GameCube version.
Hmm.
We beat it in like under 2.5 hours and got the rocket launcher for both of us.
Oh,
And
nice.
then I ran through the game again with the rocket launcher, and like nothing scared me. Like, dog, you're going down, like infinite ammo rocket launcher, and it was definitely fun. So if I can, I'll be honest, if I could put in some kind of code in Resident Evil 9 to start with like an infinite ammo rocket launcher where I can kill everything in one shot, then I might actually play it
Yeah. Yeah.
because I might get scared. My heart might fail a little bit, but at least then I could blow up whatever and I don't have to worry about it. Take away some of the panic. And I know that defeats the purpose for some people. I just want to see the story. So
Yeah.
I don't need the panic, okay?
Yeah.
I don't need it.
Oh, no, I played Resident Evil mostly because my college roommate was terrified, probably kinda like you, and so he'd watch me play and would be so scared, and it would crack me up. It was so funny, and so, like, I might actually go and watch other people play online, especially people that get scared. That sounds like a good time to be able to
I
follow the
like laughing
story
at other
and
people's
also watch
misery.
people other people exactly. Especially
Steve, the holiest
when it's
man, takes
when
pleasure
it's
in
not
watching people
real.
collectively crap their pants. Oh
It's
no, this the fear is very real.
yes,
And when
but I
that person
mean,
on the stream dies of a heart attack, you're gonna sit there and go, that
no,
that sucker, look at him go.
I'll watch
You
recorded
watch the
stuff, not
ambulance come in, the EMTs, and be like, boy, this is a really realistic Resident Evil game.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm actually the same with you with the limited ammo. Like the very first Resident Evil game I played, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 or whatever. Um, I was so confused when I got to I'm like, how in the world can I beat this person? Because you go into those games like expecting the same thing as you play every other game, and you're like, no, I'm gonna beat each enemy as I come across them. And it was so hard to get through my head that no, you need to run from them, you need to escape them and keep on moving because the game, the point of this game is to stay alive and get to the end, not necessarily kill every enemy. And that was really hard for to get through my head at that time because
Oh
I was
yeah.
not expecting that at all.
And what made it worse in the remake was the Crimson Heads.
Mm,
Because even when you finally killed one, it was like, oh man, they came back and now you have to take even more bullets. And I think what got me with the most with Resident Evil is especially the first one where you're collectively in the mansion and of course you're in the labs and the all the extra areas around the mansion. But when you went to a room and there was a zombie and you killed it,
mhm.
in your mind, that room was safe.
Yeah.
And the room was safe until either A, it turned into a crimson head, if you were unless you were able to take out its head completely, or
Mhm.
B, you did what Resident Evil was famous for, which just has triggers. Everything is good until you pick up that key. And once you pick up that key, it reloads a bunch of stuff and changes a bunch of stuff. So when you go into that room thinking I'm completely safe, and you go to
Yeah.
turn that corner because of the pre-rendered rooms and you don't have the right camera angle, you can't see around the corner, and a zombie just lunges at you and grabs you, and you freaks you out because you were not expecting it and you had your guard down. That I'm not a fan of triggers. Last of Us did that too. There was this particular moment, especially in Last of Us, where like you're in this area and it's like the lights out and you gotta like find the generator and you find it, you turn it on, you turn around, there's
Mhm.
immediately you get attacked. I'm like, oh, it's like Resident Evil all over again.
Yeah.
Not as bad, nowhere near as bad as Resident Evil,
Mhm.
but it was still one of those things where it's like I hate games with triggers like that, where it's like, oh, once I do this, once I pick this up, it's gonna change everything and nothing is safe, and then I'm always on
Mhm.
my toes. And some people like that edge; they like to be always on their toes and wondering, was I? That's not me. I want to play and relax. I don't want to panic.
Yeah. Let's jump to our final section of games. And near the end, the very end of this direct, we got we got a guy by the name of Todd Howard like popped up on the screen from Bethesda Game Studio and introduced a few games that are now going to be coming to Switch 2, like Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Will be here in just a few days on February 24th. This will also include all 6 expansions and over 150 Creation Club items. So this is a very much a full anniversary edition. Like this is a I think probably the definitive edition of this game. So again, that's on February 24th, so not very long. You have to wait on Switch 2. And then we're also, I think, just getting reconfirmed that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is coming to Switch 2 also on May 12th, 2026. And then we're also getting on Switch 2 The Elder Scrolls for Oblivion Remastered that's dropping sometime in 2026, no exact date. And that will also include the Shivering Isles and Knights of the Nine expansions. So that will be, of course, kind of more of a definitive edition of that one as well, and remastered. So for the Switch 2. So Barry, did you see this coming?
I didn't see Todd Howard appearing at the end coming. I know a lot of people collectively groaned. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Bethesda,
Sure.
but I understand why they had to do this and why they did this, and I didn't groan. I think it's great that Fallout 4 is coming to the Switch too. I didn't play 4, I played 3 and enjoyed it. But the Fallout TV series is doing great. Second season's out. Why not capitalize on it and give a new audience? Absolutely. Indiana Jones, we knew was coming out. Now we get to see more confirmation. I didn't play it because it's first person and the physical is not really a physical even on the PlayStation. It's literally a download. Switch 2 has a factual physical for this one, but I think there's some caveat. The other games are all code and box. They're not even
Mm-hmm.
game key cards. They're literally code and box. There's unless you want the thing on your wall, don't even bother. Just download it from the shop. It's
Yep.
literally a code and box. Um, but yeah, I've my friend played it. He said it was great. I've heard good things about it. If it wasn't first person, I probably would be playing it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see it coming to Switch too. And Oblivion, I played that on the 360 when it launched. It was a really fun game. I had a lot of fun with it. I did not beat it. I got so absorbed into the Thieves Guild and beat the whole Thieves Guild story, and I was like, that was such a great, especially the final mission. And then other games came out at that point, and I never wound up beating the actual game. Will I play the remake? Probably not. Just like I never went back and finished Skyrim. Of course, they're first person as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are other RPGs that I would prefer to play. But again, I'm really happy for those that didn't get a chance to play Oblivion that want to play it. Now they get to play the remastered version. It always sucked that the Switch was excluded from the remaster. And again, more options for people. If you don't
Yep.
want to play it or you already played on PlayStation, you say, I'd rather play it on PlayStation, then play it there. No one's
Yep.
stopping you. But now more
Mm-hmm.
people get access.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty much right with you. I'm excited for Indiana Jones, but the first person thing throws me off because I really I don't get into FPS games. Like I just don't. And like to be able to like I wish that you played like an Indiana Jones game. I want to be able to do third person view. I because I think I would enjoy the story a lot. I think it would be fun. Like it's placed between two of the movies, and so it like fits in the overall story, and it sounds really fun. But I don't know if I could get down behind the first person. And then Elder Scrolls, like I've never gotten into that series. at all. Like I have Skyrim for Switch, but I never actually played it. Number one, because I know those games are huge, but also like I know there's a significant difficulty as well. So it's not just being able to have the time to play it, but it's also the time to get through it, and because sometimes it's going to take a lot of work, and I don't know if I have that. And then Fallout 4 is cool. Like I've actually never played any of the real Fallout games. I played Fallout Shelter, you know, but I never actually played any of the Fallout games. So maybe Fallout 4, maybe the one that I actually play, because I've always heard good things about it. But yeah, never really had the chance to play it. So here we are, getting on Switch 2. Maybe we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
no, Skyrim is a good game too, and again, it's one of those that I played to a point, and then I eventually, fell off. Uh, it's just one of those things where you either get into it, or you don't. Like you, originally I heard so many good things about Elder Scrolls, so when I finally tracked down a copy of Morrowind on the original Xbox,
Hmm.
and I played that before I played Oblivion. I played that, and I was like, you could do anything, and I went to like the first town, and like I was like anything, and I killed a person. I'm like, oh, that was cool, and then locked me up, and I was like, okay, okay, this game's not as fun anymore. And that's the way it was with Oblivion and Skyrim and all those. Like how with standard RPGs, like you walk into someone's house and like you just open up their cupboard and open up their drawers or smash their pots and then walk out like
Hmm.
nothing. You could do that in there. You could go and you could take their silverware and you could do all that. But if you're caught, it's a crime. And if you're not caught, there's inventory weight in the Elder Scrolls. All that stuff takes weight. Not a lot, but it still adds up. So
Hmm.
eventually you get encumbered and you're moving slowly, and then you got to start tossing. Then the inventory management starts, and I hate inventory management. Give me infinite slots of infinite everything, no weight, and let me just hoard.
Yeah.
I want to beat the game with those 1,000 super high potions that I'm
Yes.
not using just in case I need them.
Yep. 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 Totally. I want to hoard as much as I can. Absolutely. Uh, well, let us know what you guys think about this Nintendo Direct, and also if you'd like to go back and just watch one of the videos or anything like that, we've got an article up on NintendoFuse.com that just has all the different trailers for every one of the announcements in this Direct, so you can go one by one and watch them over and over again if you need to, or go to a specific one. That helps a lot. I think if you're like, oh, I want to see more of that specific game, then having to go back through and track through the direct itself. But yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think, either in our Discord, in the comments on the YouTube video, on our social media. We'd love to know what you guys think. What stood out to you from this direct? But that was not the only direct we got, Barry. We also got. Oh, actually, before we jump into that, Japan got a separate game that we did not get in in America, and so they got. I'm probably going to butcher how to pronounce this. Gonbari, Goman Deshugo, I believe, which translates to either Goman All Stars Assembly or Good Luck Goman Collection, or better as we know it in the US and Europe and North America, Mystical Ninja. So a collection of 13 games in the series from Mystical Ninja, from the Famicom, Super Famicom, and Game Boy. And as of now, this is a Japan exclusive. So very, you could be important in this one.
I'm really angry that this is not coming to America.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to play the 8 and 16-bit Gomon games. Most of them never came here. But like many, I was introduced to Gomon with Mystical Ninja starring Gomon on the 64, and then Gomon's Great Adventure. And that was mainly because if you only own the N64 and you don't own PlayStation or Saturn like I did, I only owned the 64 at the time. You didn't have a lot of games. So when you got a new game, it was like, "Ooh, what's this?" And Mystical Ninja starring Gomon for the 64, the first one was like Zelda. It was a 3D adventure game. It's fantastic. It had anime tropes. It had a theme song that is like an anime theme song. It's quirky Japanese, and I love everything about it, except for the mermaid minigame swimming up the waterfall. We have to spam the hitting a button repeatedly. I hate that. Oh man, I hate that part. But other than that, the game is phenomenal and absolutely a worthwhile play. Period. Second game, Gomon's Great Adventure was good, just not as good. And then Gomon seemed to have stopped, or we didn't get any more. I would love to play these. They're just a quirky, fun Japanese. And it's so weird about this game is not only is it Japanese only, which is one thing, it's only going to the Japanese eShop, not coming to American eShop. On Steam, it is locked Japan only. So you can't even get it on American Steam. It is literally they are doing everything they can to keep
That's
this in
weird.
Japan. The physical is Japanese only and apparently is selling so incredibly well in the West that Video Games Plus is actually restocking. They're ordering more because they're selling out. People want this game. A lot of there's 3 RPGs that are not in English at all.
Hmm.
So obviously that's going to be harder to do. The others are like platforming games. You can still probably enjoy them. But Japan is like trying to gatekeep, or at least Konami Japan is trying to gatekeep this. Um, Hopefully a publisher will translate it and pay their money and see the demand and bring it to America. That would be wonderful. I think it'd be fantastic. Again, getting these games onto modern platforms, and especially when you have the port, all you have to do is the translation.
Mm-hmm.
And we've even seen some games come over, first off, in Japanese. So I don't know if you're familiar with Egg Console. I have a bunch of their games. So Egg Console, which sounds weird, but that's literally look it up on your Switch eShop. They bring over a lot of Japanese PC RPGs and stuff, like the early stuff from Falcom, the early E's, the just a bunch of different games from that early PC era in Japan, the MSX, stuff like that. They bring it to Switch. A lot of the games do have English, a lot of them don't. And they tell you like, oh, the directions and the manual and stuff has been translated to English, but the game is in Japanese. But they brought, and it's on the US eShop. They brought them over. They preserved them. They allowed for people to enjoy those older games or experience those older games that they wouldn't never get to because old PC games are hard to even run on new PCs. There's a lot of stuff you have to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen it. The Neo Geo Pocket Color Collection, for example, that came out, they brought over the Mega Man Power Battle collection that was on the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which were like 8-bit versions of the 2 arcade games. They are not in English because they would never hit American shores on our Neo Geo Pocket Color. They were only released in Japan. Not only did they put it in the collection, they actually released it as a standalone. You could look it up and see a standalone version of that on the eShop. The manual is translated, the logo is translated, all that, but it tells you the game is Japanese. We're gonna port it. We're not gonna do the work to put the game in English. You're gonna have to figure it out or use your phone, but at least you can play it. And it is playable without English. It's just the menus. The game itself
Yeah.
is action. But we've seen this before. Do something at least in that way. At least let us get an option. And hopefully someone comes through and says, let's translate the whole thing. That would be a godsend. Honestly, they would make a killing. Based on the way that people are buying the physical, they would make a killing. But Gomon doesn't have the that popularity in the West, unfortunately. Look at what they did with Bomberman. They could have just put Bomberman 4, Super Bomberman 4 and 5, and left them in Japanese, given us the PAL version of 3 since it was at least translated. But they didn't. They actually translated 4 and 5. They did the extra work. And I hope that sells enough that they keep doing it to show them, like, yes, we appreciate you doing that. And we
Mm-hmm.
should all appreciate if we're finally getting games that we never got before in English for the first time. We get to experience them because there's a ton of games that we never got that many people don't even know about. And absolutely, this is a collection that should come over.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, let's move on. We've talked a lot about this Nintendo Direct. There's another one that was focused on just one game, and that was Tomodachi Life: Living the Dream. And that's was such a weird. weird direct, but it makes so much sense with this game. So I'm going to run through the some of the highlights from this direct that was all about this game that will be dropping on April 16th of this year on Switch 2. So we found out that you can have me characters, of course, and they have character within this game. So you can give them like fully customize them and envision them as family and friends and more. And you can give them like just let them experiment within the world itself and give them actual characters. So they're not just these two-dimensional kind of me's that we've had in the past. And then you can also create mini me's. That's MANY. So there's two different ways that you can create those characters. You can get some help and by answering some questions, and it kind of creates it for you, or you can go from scratch and create their face style, their hair type, the eyes, and so much more. Give them so many different things that fit their height and their body type and their gender and their voice and all these different personality things that you can give these different me. And then you can help residents connect together. And a lot of times you do that by just picking them up and dragging them to someone else and say, hey, you guys should talk, or you guys should get along. And they get to talk about, monster trucks, or tell them, oh, you should talk to this me about, this other me about something else. And they get to have conversations about that. You can visit island shops and the facilities and be able to interact with all these different restaurants and culinary curiosities, like in the food mart and all these different things, and shop for different clothes and all this different stuff. You have a palette house workshop where you can create a wide range of elements in this artsy workshop. So it kind of seems like a little bit like Animal Crossing, where you can kind of draw different designs and then have those available for clothes and other things within the game. And then you can also customize your island, similar to Animal Crossing New Horizons as well, but a little more kind of stripped down and an easier way to actually do that, because you can just kind of just indicate which areas you want to reshape and move your different buildings around just by dragging them and dropping them in a new place. And then there's a lot of different other ways that you can customize as well to from your me characters, like the quirks that you give them. Like this one likes to, I don't know, eat a lot, and this one likes to talk a lot or whatever. And so those are different quirks that you can give them. But it's also things like this one tosses and turns while they sleep and stuff like that. So it's kind of just weird, funny things like that. You can have romances and all these different kind of crazy things, even to the point of like love triangles and all these silly things that within this game. So if you're unfamiliar with Tomodachi Life, it's a life sim kind of type of game, but with these really, really quirky me characters. So Barry, what do you think of Tomodachi Life, living the dream?
I didn't get a chance to play the first one, but there's a lot to this. It's more in depth than I was thinking with this new game. I think it's funny. Uh, it's Sims. It's Sims with me, with that little Nintendo charm. Uh, whether I wasn't sure if I was gonna play it or not, and I think it really depends on what else is around that time, simply because I plan to play Pokemon next month, and that's a very Animal Crossing style game, and I'm playing Fantasy Life, which has an Animal Crossing style element to designing your island. So I might need a break from that type of game. I
Mm-hmm.
like to differentiate, but the direct was fantastic. Honestly, I had my wife watch it afterwards. I'm like, this is a game that you would probably really enjoy, and it's quirky, it's funny. I've seen the internet just go crazy over Hugh Morris. Like they're just making him like the celebrity,
Yeah.
and it's like so many. It's funny watching people suddenly like realize like, oh, his name's Humorous. I get it, and he's a jester. Like, yes, it was a joke. And what's interesting that Nintendo actually created different characters, a whole different set of characters for Europe and for Japan. So all the regions have
That's
like
funny.
Humorous is only in the US or the North
Oh,
American direct.
I didn't
There's a
realize that.
different there's different people or different Mii's created for the other regions. So I think that's like they didn't have to do it, but they did it that way and they changed it up.
That's is the storyline basically the same for each of them, or is it a completely
I
different
don't
storyline?
I think it's different storylines and everything too.
Wow.
I didn't watch it, but I think they went kind of like we're gonna make it all different. Like I don't think Angie is there like she is in ours. But I think that there's a lot of in-depth stuff, like way more than I was expecting. And
Mm-hmm.
I know some people on the internet, and I guess we should just do the elephant in the room. Some people are upset that non-binary is an option when they promised that the next Tomodachi Life would have that, like 12 years ago. They promised people or whatever it was. Um, don't pick it. Let people have options. Options are
Mm-hmm.
always good. Who cares? It's a game about, you know, professors professing their love for a jester while hiding underneath the bench of a Ferris wheel. It is not to be taken seriously. It is just to be having fun. That's another thing is that this game does not have online functionality. Like you
Oh
can't
yeah.
share stuff, you can't connect. It is like, and I think they're doing that because you can create whomever you want, and they're afraid of people creating real life people and doing terrible things to them. Kind of like how they removed the Twin Towers from Flight Simulator after 9/11,
Mm-hmm.
just because they're like, we don't want people recreating that terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's the internet. I mean, giving people the ability to draw how quick before a penis appears. I mean, it's probably microseconds. Just because it's the internet. So unfortunately, there's no online. So as you're playing a single player game, you are literally disconnected. You can't share, at least not the typical way of sharing. I mean, stream or whatever. But there's no in-game functionality to do that. But I think it's fun. I think there's a lot of quirks to this game. I think the direct was needed because
Mm-hmm.
they want to sell. I saw some people say, why should they put this much time and effort into it? The original Tamagotchi Life was the 11th highest selling game on the 3DS.
Yeah.
That that's pretty good. You know, it's 11. It's not in the top 10, but it's right outside of it. And this is the Wii or the Wii. Listen to me. The Switch
Mm-hmm.
is only really getting two games that we know of from Nintendo this
Mm-hmm.
year, which is this and Rhythm Heaven. That's all we know about. Oh, Animal Crossing 3.0 update and the Donkey Kong Country HD update. You can count those if you want those updates to count. Very light year. So give some attention to Switch owners who haven't upgraded yet, because there's a lot of them. There's over
Yeah.
100 million of them that haven't upgraded yet. So,
Yeah.
give them something to look forward to. Give them some attention. What got me is that they didn't announce the Switch 2 edition. They announced it can be
Mm.
played on the Switch 2, which was to be expected, but no enhancements. And you would think that any game at this point released by Nintendo that's on the Switch 1 would have some kind of built-in enhancements for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. It's just playable on Switch too. We're like, okay, that's
Just
cool.
playable on Switch 2.
Yeah. As are the vast majority of Switch games. Yeah. It'd be weird if it wasn't. But yeah, I this is not a game for me, but I it's hilarious and it's so goofy and so quirky, and I love that it exists. I love that these things. I love that Metopia. I mean, Jake's just talking about Metopia. And the original Tomodachi Life. Like, I love that those games exist. They're so quirky. They're not my thing at all. But I love watching videos like this of it. I won't be playing it myself, but I'll definitely check out videos of other people and their interactions with them and everything. So I'll enjoy the game, but I'm not gonna spend money on buying it myself, but I'll enjoy it just by watching other people's videos because it's so quirky. Like I'm more of an adventure kind of game, type of person and everything. I'll play like Animal Crossing is the only one of those kind of style of games that I've ever really gotten into. And it's not this kind, but it's closer to this than like a Mario or a Zelda. And so, but yeah, it's so quirky, and I. And I just thought it was so funny that they did this direct so well because I was invested. I wanted to know what was going on with Angie and her friends, and like especially this love triangle thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's hiding underneath the the seat of the Ferris wheel. That's ridiculous. And so that was just silly. And so I love that it exists, but it's not for me.
Do you think we'll see humorous in the next Smash Brothers?
That would be funny. That would be really funny if we did.
Well,
Maybe.
they could give the outfit as a
Yeah.
Mii Fighter
Yeah. It'd
custom.
be a me fighter. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Yeah. Well, we are already going on pretty long. So before we go too far over the 2 hour mark, let's talk about the the financial results. And Nintendo's launched a ton of stuff. I just want to hit some highlights. So from hardware performance side of things, Switch 2 is getting some momentum. It sold over 17.37 million units in roughly 6 months, which meant that it surpassed the lifetime sales of the Wii U already in just a half of a year. That was 13.6 million for the Wii U, and we have 17.37 million in 6 months for the Switch 2. The original Switch record has also increased to officially overtake the Nintendo DS to become Nintendo's best-selling hardware console of all times at 155.37 million units sold. And I'm sure that number is going to keep increasing. And maybe it will overtake PS2. That's unless Sony finds some more sales in their closet. And then also they talked about their fiscal year target. Nintendo maintained its forecast to sell 19 million Switch 2 units by the end of this fiscal year that ends in March 2026. So again, they're aiming for 19 million. They're at the end of the year, I believe it was 17.37. So that still seems like a pretty achievable estimate. Let's move over to software highlights just to keep on going. We found out that Mario Kart World remains the dominant system seller for the Switch 2, recording 14.03 million units sold. That it does include the bundles. And then Pokemon Legends ZA is a massive cross-gen hit, selling 12.3 million copies across both the original Switch and Switch 2, along with other key titles like Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is at 4.25 million units. Kirby Air Riders is at 1.76, and Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, which are Switch ports, combined for 4.5 million units sold in their first quarter. And then we also got some other financial figures like net sales surged to 1.9 trillion yen, or $12.3 billion, which is a 99.3% increase year over year, which is crazy. And then their net profit rose to 358.8 billion yen, or $2.3 million, up
Billion.
one, or sorry,
2.3
up
billion.
53 billion. Did I say million?
Said
2.3
million.
billion, which is up 51.3% compared to the same period as last year. Their operating profit is now up 21.3% to hit 300.3 billion yen. And note that while the sales doubled, the profit growth was more modest due to the higher production cost of the Switch 2. So if you're kind of wondering why the numbers are off just a little bit, that's the case. And then finally, their strategic outlook and risks. They talked about their component costs. Furukawa, the president of Nintendo, said that while there is a global global memory chip shortage that's raised costs kind of overall for a lot of different technology companies, Nintendo's sizable inventories and long-term contracts are actually shielding the company from major price hikes, which is a really good thing, at least for the time being. And then down the pipeline, they are hoping to maintain momentum by confirming upcoming releases of Mario Tennis Fever, which is in February, and then Pokemon Pokopia, which I struggle to say that thing every time, that's dropping in March 2026. And then they also have their movie related revenue that did actually see a 10% dip this quarter, but Nintendo is also banking on the next Super Mario Galaxy movie that's slated for April 2026 to drive a lot of hardware interest after people see that movie, which kind of makes sense, especially if they end up dropping a new Mario game alongside it. So
They saw a dip, but they really haven't put out anything
yeah,
since the
yeah.
Mario movie.
It's like
So,
actually only a 10% dip without a movie is not too bad.
movie
So
or TV show or anything.
right, right. So Barry, what do you think about all these numbers?
I think they're good. I think the Switch 2 is doing very well, especially considering the economic climate we're in and the fact that, it's not exactly the cheapest thing. It's a little more
Mhm.
expensive than people were hoping for. I do think the Switch is going to outsell the PS2. I don't expect Sony's going to be able to find enough enough PS2s to magically beat out the Switch. It's just this people. If someone says the Switch is dead because the Switch 2 is out, that's not the case. I mean, Nintendo usually or used to do that, you know, for a period of their time. The NES didn't die when the Super Nintendo came out. The Super Nintendo lived a little bit after the 64. 64 was dead before the GameCube came out. GameCube was dead when the Wii came out. The Wii died, shortly after the Wii U, when the Wii U was dead before the Switch came out. But the Switch is not dead anytime soon. The Switch will go on for years with third-party support and even Nintendo support, probably with more ports, re-releasing games. We've been wanting Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. We've been talking about, will they come? Will they finally come? When they eventually come, which I can't see why they wouldn't, they're going to come to the Switch. Then they shouldn't come to the Switch 2. There's no reason for them to come to Switch 2. They ran on the Wii U just fine. They could run on the Switch just fine, and you get a bigger install base. And then, of course, that will run on the Switch too. That's what we're going to see. So because of that, the Switch will sell more. Will beat out the PS2, in my
Mhm.
opinion. I think it still has a lot of legs. The Yeah, the game sales are good. I know people were confused about Metroid Prime 4. They counted Switch and Switch 2 as separate,
Mhm.
and they said combined it's over 1 million, but not individually between Switch and Switch 2.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not there. What sucks is like Hyrule Warriors. I think they did, but they don't report that because Koei Tecmo. In
Sure.
Japan, I think Koei Tecmo published that. So it's just one of those things where I think the numbers are good,
Yeah.
especially given there weren't a lot of first party titles,
Mhm.
truthfully, and we only had 6 months. So
Right.
I mean, they already outsold the Wii U. They're coming for the N64 and the GameCube next.
Yeah. Yeah, things are looking really good, and I think a lot of people were. I mean, even me included. Like, 'cause it seems like and Switch Two sales aren't what they wanted and everything, but they're barely lower than their prediction, and it's still selling very well. And I don't know if it will ever surpass the Switch. I think the Switch will probably remain the better selling system of the two. But I think Switch 2 is definitely doing fine. And like we've said earlier in the episode, being able to now turn our focus, or Nintendo to turn their focus and say, hey, look at all these third party support that we're now having, and you're now able to play all these other games that used to not be able to play on a Nintendo console, and now you can. And we got more support coming, and more first party games, and more third party games. The future is just looking bright, and Nintendo is in a really good place, which is kind of weird because they're one of the ones that just haven't sold out. They're staying true to who they are and what they do, and it's working well for them. Like, they've got a lot of money in the bank, and they can pretty much do what they want to right now.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I said before when we talked about the partner direct, the partner showcase. That's exactly what it needed to do, is
Mhm.
to show this is this is what the third parties are bringing to the table.
Mhm.
It's not just first party. It's not just the usual ports. You're getting stuff that you normally wouldn't think would be on the Switch. And the more they do that,
Mhm.
the more people will come over. Plain and simple.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people who say, "Oh, it looks good, but I'd rather get on the PlayStation," they're going to do that. If I play docked, why should I play the PlayStation version or the Xbox? Um, sure, that makes sense. But I'll tell you this: when you decide if you ever decide to start a family, like you will probably wind up using that portability more than you expected. Because I play the thing docked. I play the thing more portable lately than I have in a long time, simply because my son dominates the TV, and I'm like, well, if you're watching that, at least I could do something. Having the option to do that is incredible.
Yeah.
As you have kids, that is the thing. If you enter that stage of life, if you never do, it doesn't matter. But to have more games have that ability to be portable as well as docked is incredible. And yes, you could use a Steam Deck. Not every game works with the Steam Deck. If that's your fancy, then do it. But that we're talking Switch here. The Switch has these pluses, these positives. The more games on it, the more it will sell, the better it will do, as long as there's some kind of control.
Yeah.
We don't need the AI shovelware games.
Right. Right. Well, let's wrap this episode up because we are already over 2 hours, and there was just two of us. Like, if Greg was here, we'd probably have to go 3 hours. So we got a lot of thoughts around a lot of different news that's come out recently. But let's turn our attention to the next couple weeks. Our next episode is going to be on February 24th. Again, streaming live on both YouTube and Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. But until that next episode, over the next couple weeks, we've got some games that are coming out. So I'm gonna be scrolling those as usual, compliments of Metacritic's list, and highlighting just a few of those games as well. So on February 12th, which is just a couple days away, we're getting Kimco RPG Selection Volume 3. We're getting BlazBlue Entropy Effect X, Yakuza yeah. Man, in my head I was going to pronounce that so well, and then I butchered it. Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties, and then also Mario Tennis Fever is also coming out on February 12th. And then on February 13th, Reanimal, which they've been pushing quite a bit. And then February 7th, E's Memoir, Revelations in Celceta? Celceta? How am I? Celceta? Celceta. Okay. And then February 8th, we got Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown for all you Trekkies or Trekkers, depending on what you call yourselves. And then February 20th, we've got another Ease game, Ease X Proud Nordics. Or is this DLC? Barry, is this a DLC pack?
It's a re-release of Ease 10 with some added content.
Okay.
But I don't think it's DLC. I don't think like you could add on to it, which sucks because I've already played it and beat it, and it's
Yeah,
like I don't know if I really want to play through it again right now. Maybe down the road, 10 years from now.
got it. And then finally, on the day of our next episode, February 24th, we're getting, as we said earlier, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition for Switch 2. So, what games over the next couple weeks are on your mind, Barry, that you plan on playing, or are you going to be hopping back into some backlog?
I love the fact that the first two games you mentioned were actually games we're doing the physical of, so that's awesome. You forgot Chromagun too. We're doing that one
Oh,
too. That
okay.
that is us. But no, my main goal is gonna do Fantasy Life, and some more LC, and then Mario Tennis, and after Mario Tennis is Paranormal Sight. So that's my outlook. Of course, work can change that, or reviews can change that, depending on what happens. But that's my immediate plan on top of Pokemon and Asphalt, provided I finally get my season in Asphalt and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I none of the games that are going to be coming out, except for Fallout 4, is one that, and I don't know if I'll be picking up. If I do get it, it's probably not going to be one of those day one kind of things, because I do
You're
have
not doing
plenty of
Mario Tennis?
games. No, no, I don't. I don't know. I actually don't know if I've ever owned a Mario Tennis game. Like, I've
Oh man, I love Mario
played them.
Tennis.
I think I rented them back in the day. But I don't know if I've ever owned a Mario Tennis game. So the first one that I own will probably be the Virtual Boy Mario Tennis when that comes out. It's probably going to be the
Well,
first one.
Mario Tennis on 64 is on NSO.
Oh, okay. Officially, I guess that was my first one. Uh, so, but I quote own it. Uh, I get access to play it. So yeah, I don't know. I've never really fully been excited about Mario Tennis. Like, actually don't get into many of the Mario sports games, except for Strikers. I think that was the only one that I really got into of any of the Mario sports games. Mostly because like I just don't feel like there's like enough game there to warrant, that full price sort of thing. Like I'd much rather, like, that one time they had a Mario Sports collection kind of thing. Like that sounds interesting to me, but a whole game just about Mario Tennis, eh. So
They actually did that twice on the 3DS and the Wii.
that's true. I didn't get either of them, so it didn't interest me enough. But it was more intriguing than just one game. But yeah. So yeah, I'll probably be going back, and maybe I'll eventually I'll maybe get back to finishing up AI as well.
Yes, please, please, please.
And wrap that one up maybe by the next episode. And yeah, I don't know. I still need to finish enough. The stinking Plants vs Zombies game is so frustrating to me that I have to beat the main game, to unlock those other two modes. I'm like, I just want to play the other two modes. Stop making me go through a game I've already beaten on my phone years ago. So I'll probably be playing that just because I got to get those other modes before Greg and I do our game chat, because I want to be able to give it a full review of all the different modes. But that's that's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm sure there's other games that I'll probably be trying out. Those demos, a lot of the demos that we talked about earlier, I'll get those downloaded. I'm actually traveling this week. I've got a trip that I'm actually flying out tomorrow, and so get a couple hours on the plane that I may be able to play through some games during that time as well. So we'll see. But yeah, I play a lot of handheld as well, mostly because the Switch 2 screen is fantastic. But
It
I
is.
am still holding out eventually if they make a Switch 2 Lite, because that would be so much easier to put in my bag. But we'll see. So
It will only work.
let's wrap this one up. This long episode that we've covered so much news in this one. But again, if you haven't let us know in the live chat, let us know in the comments on social media, on Discord, all your different thoughts. There's rumors that we might have another Nintendo Direct coming up soon. So
Yeah, so
we'll
next
see.
week, the 3D Mario something.
Yeah. So maybe on the next episode, which would be February 24th, we may be talking about another Nintendo Direct. We'll see. I do believe that'd be another one that's just you and I, because I think Greg is
Yeah.
traveling during that time. So it'll just be us for the next one. Most likely, if the rumors are correct, that we'll be talking about another Direct. We'll see.
We'll see.
So, Barry, anything to close?
Nah, just happy gaming. It's a great time. There's so many games to play and enjoy. And I'll do the shameful plug, BlazBlue coming out and Chromagun 2 in just a few days, and Chemco RPG collection. And like I said, we just announced a Ranger doing at the end of the physical. We're working with Lost and Cult on the physical, and it's one of those one of the ESRBs I did, so I played through, and I can tell you it's a fun game. And yeah, just there's so many great games though. Just have fun. Don't worry about if a direct does zero games you're interested in. Just play the games you like. And if you're sitting there going, I have nothing to play, then it's time you expand your horizon, because there's virtually infinite games out there, and I guarantee you haven't played every game from even your favorite genre.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being here. Again, follow us on social media, join our Discord. All those links are going to be in the show notes, also the YouTube description. We'd love to have you guys follow us. We got so many more game chats and reviews and gameplay videos and industry conversations, interviews, and all that stuff on our YouTube channel. So be sure to subscribe over there. Check out NintendoFuse.com as well. And until next time, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.